Hello, everyone, and welcome to New Trials, the podcast. I'm Preya.
And I'm Melanie.
The New Trials of Cardcaptor Sakura, Syaoran, and Friends is a popular ongoing fanfic by Wishluv, and it's based off of Clamp's Cardcaptor Sakura. And in each episode, we'll do a deep dive of a new chapter. Let's get into it. Here we are, Melanie.
Oh, part one of our downfall into misery.
Uh, so this chapter was released in the summer of 2000. It's 4,474 words, and once again, a bit less than the previous chapter. And in the timeline, Sakura and her friends are in the 8th grade in November. So, as always, start with the summary. Here we go. Chapter 10, Icy Barrier. Sakura and Syaoran battled the rope, but when they found themselves tied up, Kyroberos came to their rescue. Once capturing the force with Woody, the danger wasn't over as Sakura fell through the water and became trapped underneath by a magical barrier. Seeing no way out, Sakura was ready to stop fighting when she heard Syaoran yelling at her to keep going because he knew she could. Using Fiery, she weakened the ice, and Syaoran broke her free. They all worked together to bring Sakura's normal body temperature back. Sakura carried her to his house, with Tomoyo and Kiro-chan behind him. Before Sakura regained consciousness, Syaoran told Tomoyo that his feelings for Sakura has changed from what they were before. Once Sakura was put to bed, Tomoyo continued her conversation with Syaoran, and she claimed that his words and actions towards Sakura were contradictory. Still, he explained that he was still too young to commit his feelings to one sole person, when there was still time to meet another. Meanwhile, Sakura has a nightmare about Syaoran leaving her behind in the mist for a golden-eyed girl, putting up an icy barrier so she could not get to them. She woke up with a start, saying that nothing like that would happen. Dun dun dun.
Well, I have to say, this is probably one of my favorite costumes that Sakura wears, like even though it's to her detriment later on in the chapter. But I love velvet and just the idea of this beautiful like velvet petticoat. And it's so flouncy. I just love it. I love it.
As I mentioned in a previous podcast, it's actually been a minute since we've been dark forest hunting, and I love that we get back into the essence of what is Cardcaptor Sakura.
Indeed.
Now,
Can you ice skate?
yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. I didn't even remember ice skates, and it was definitely a comedic moment. But I read this chapter a few times, and when that part came up, I'm like, ice skates? I don't remember that. And to answer your question, no, I cannot ice skate.
I cannot either. People meet me in person and they see this like 6 foot tall Amazon woman and they're like, oh, you must be super athletic. And that's so far from the truth. I'm the most unathletic person ever, like ever, ever, ever. And I've tried rollerblading, I've tried ice skating, and all of them have been a disaster.
Oh my gosh. My parents just like, and now I actually went roller skating. Maybe it was about a year ago. We found out there was a roller disco in Montreal. So we went and I wore these bell-bottom pants and this like nice green top and I had roller skates and they played really good music. And I only fell twice because the songs were really good and I was trying to dance and rollerblade at the same time. But no, when I told my parents that I went roller skating, they both had the same story. Where when I was little, I had roller skates or blades, and then I fell, and I said I would never do it again. And true to my word, I never did it again.
Funny.
And I don't remember this at all. And what's funny is that where my parents live, my dad works in the store on the first level and they live on the second level. So we went to go say hi to my dad first and then I showed him the pictures and then he told my boyfriend the story and I'm like mortified. And we go upstairs and see my mom. I show her the picture and she goes to tell Cameron the exact same story. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Gotta love parents. I remember like my friends would have like little ice skating birthday parties and stuff. And I would always either A, make up an excuse not to go, B, I would either just sit with the parents on like the benches and just drink hot chocolate.
That's definitely what I would have done too. Uh, so we're battling the rope, and I just love the way that you read the battle scene. It's just so invigorating. All the action, I just loved it.
Thank you. It's a good one. I forget just how much it like, it's kind of smart how Wish-chan, sorry, I'm still kind of sick, so if my voice is going in and out, I apologize. But I think it's so interesting how Wish-chan writes that, because she almost writes it to make it into an audiobook, because she puts like a lot of like really good like words in there that I can like enunciate, and just, yeah, she's just such a good writer. It's all credit to her.
And I actually didn't remember details of the fight, which surprised me because it's like, I know New Trials is a lot to remember, but like, and I've read this chapter before, but I was listening to your audiobook. It was like reliving it all over again.
Yeah, same. Like when I first went to record this, because it was this chapter and, the next chapter, I tend just to kind of just skip over them and get right to New York. But yeah, like I forgot like she uses the woody. I guess we'll maybe talk about that here in a little bit. But yeah, I completely forgot she uses the woody to seal it.
After the knife, I think the rope is so far the second most dangerous. And then when I was thinking about the knife and the rope, I was wondering if Wish-chan was getting her inspiration for dark forces from Clue.
Probably.
I remember the scene where Sakura was under the pond very well, but I think that's only because, so back in 2010, Kiri-chan, she wrote a New Trials trailer where she took like scenes from New Trials and she made it into as if like a verbal, like a literary trailer, and it's really cool. And she kind of sliced scenes together. So I'm gonna share that with the group. But the scene where Sakura was under the water and Syaoran was like trying to save her, and then Tomoe's conversation, all of this was all part of her New Trials trailer, and it's definitely a gem that I'm gonna link to the Facebook.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that. I don't think, or if I have, it's just years.
It's been 12 years. Once I share it with you, it's gonna jog your memory for sure. It's really cute. I love her trailers. I think she did 3 of them, if I'm not mistaken, and they're all actually on fanfiction.net under Wish-chan's account, but I'll link it on Facebook.
Oh, okay. And didn't Wish-chan write one at one point too, where it was like a trailer, and then she'd be like, dot, 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 this scene hasn't happened yet. This scene hasn't happened yet.
It's possible that she could have done it. I'd have to like poke around in the group's IO to see if she wrote a trailer too.
I have to say, getting trapped under the ice like this is probably, me. So Preya knows, but you guys probably don't know. Water is like my number one big fear. And even more specifically is being trapped, submerged in water. And so just reading this chapter, and like when I was having to record it for the audiobook, I was getting such bad anxiety just picturing. It's so scary.
That was a scary scene because, she could die. And Syaoran calling out Sakura's name when she gets trapped, I think that's the first time he says her name since the camping trip.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yep.
Luckily, it's like she uses fiery, and then it's like he breaks through the ice. Phew, we're relieved. I like the scene where they warm her up. What did you think of Kiro-chan calling Syaoran hentai boy?
Very typical early 2000s anime, like Inuyasha, and like all of those would always be like hentai.
Oh my gosh, my first thought was like, future Wish-chan would never write a quip like that.
No.
Way too mature.
Yeah, not anymore. Now they just feel like, turn around, why do you want to look, or something, and
yeah.
like, I'm not. Okay, I'm really sorry. I have to put on my medical hat. I'm really sorry. I know you guys are like so annoyed at me when I do this, but if a friend has hypothermia, the very last thing you want to do is put them to bed and have them go to sleep. You don't do that. Guys, if if this were to ever happen, you want to keep your friend warm, you want to keep them conscious, and you want to take them to the hospital. Okay, I'm taking off my medical hat.
Speaking of keeping him warm, I just loved it when like Syaoran gives Sakura the like because this is his robes to wear, and it's like, don't you just love wearing your significant other's clothes?
Yes, I travel quite a bit for my job, and so every time I travel, I always bring one of Pete's shirts. This is be really gross. No one judge me, but I always put on like one of his like dirty shirts because it smells the most like him.
Pheromones, girl, pheromones.
Mm-hmm. It's a comfort thing.
So real. No, for me, the first time that I went to Cameron's place, it was like a really, really bad rainstorm and I was absolutely drenched. So I had an umbrella, but my pants were soaked. So when I was over, I'm like, oh, can I just borrow a pair of sweatpants? And he's like, I don't have what sweatpants. And I'm like, so he just gave me a regular pair of pants. But girl, we're the same size. He's like really skinny and we we're the exact same size, and his pants look better on me than it does on him.
Like sisterhood of the traveling pants. Hold on, we have to unpack this real quick. The boy does not own sweatpants.
I know. It's like his wardrobe was already limited to begin with, but sweatpants, he has sweatpants now. But like when we were
Okay.
dating, it's he moved around a lot, so a lot of things just like didn't make the chopping block.
I just can't imagine. Like you're just hanging out at home, just chilling, and you're like just chilling in jeans. Like I'm all decked out and comfy wear right now. Like as soon as I get home, scrubs come off, comfy pants come on.
Everybody's different.
I guess.
Uh, in chapter 10, it's like Sakura already slept at Sharon's place twice.
That's true. So we had a pretty huge foreshadowing scene here.
Yes. I wrote that down.
Like on so many different levels of foreshadowing, even like the whole she asked Syaoran, like, what would you do if you ever lost all your power? And then she says, what if I were to die? What would happen to my friends? And just like, insane.
I know. And it's like, Wish-chan was very clear. It's like, yeah, I didn't think about arc 4 when I was writing it back in arc 1, but it's like for everything to come around full circle and foreshadow, oh, that just made me really excited. It's like, and now that I'm like doing this deep dive, I don't think I picked this up before.
Yeah, like I know she says she didn't have arc 4 planned, but I feel like she had to on some conscious level kind of know sorta ish what she wanted. Maybe not chapter by chapter by chapter, but this is just too on the nose not to be foreshadowing, you know?
But it's so I know I loved it. I'm like, oh my God, that's major foreshadowing. I love it. Forgot that Sharon was almost gonna tell Sakura that he had no feelings for her in this chapter until Malin like rips him out of there.
That made me so irate. I was like, literally, the girl almost died. Like, she just had a traumatic experience. And then to add on to her trauma, you want to be like, oh, by the way, I don't love you anymore. It's so frustrating.
Oh, did you notice the way that Wish-chan suddenly weaved into CS canon when Tomoyo reminded Sharon that, like, oh, you and Sakura confessed to each other before you left Japan? And because in the last chapter we talked about how she finally found out the ending, and she's like, no, my ending is ruined. But now she's like low-key retconning her fics to fit canon. I thought that was cute.
And I just think, like, even though well, I don't know if we want to call it a small scene, but even though it's a tiny part of this chapter, I feel like that conversation that Tomeo has with him is huge. The fact that she's so mature, even for that age, where she's like, I really think you need to stop and think about what you're doing before you do it. You know, and like she warned him. The boy cannot say she did not warn him. So here in like arc 2 at the end, where he's all sad about it, and it's like, well, Tameo warned you. Like she had a full on conversation with you. And I know, and I think everyone says like, if Tameo had powers, like she'd be so powerful. But I really feel like she has some type of like second sense about things. I really do. Like,
No, she's very perceptive. She was like the first one to call Syaoran out on his split personality. And
yes.
no, it's like, and she's just looking out for her girl. And she's reading the situation as is, and it's just not fair what Sharon is doing because it's like his actions are saying something completely different than his words, and that's just not fair to anybody.
Mm-mm. Nope.
So, in the conversation with Tomoyo, Sharon makes the excuse about, oh, I'm still young. I could still meet somebody else. Doesn't mean I'm gonna settle down. So, fun fact, back in 2011 in the Yahoo group, we played a new trial game. It was created by a group member named Kate. And then we would answer who we would marry, punch in the face, have as a sibling, have as a best friend, have as a slave, not just not be in the picture for a while, understand better, and admit their true feelings. So with Shen, she thought this was so much fun. She couldn't answer as herself because of spoilers, but she answered as every single character. And for Sakura, she wrote that Sakura wants to marry someone like her father. And for Sharon said, whoever my mom tells me to.
Oh, what a good little Chable boy.
Yeah, I'm gonna post that game in the Facebook group too. It would be fun to resurrect after what, 11 years? Yeah.
Did I answer that at all? Are
You
you
know,
able to
you
see if I
didn't
answered?
answer that. Ella, she actually posted another game and you answered that one. And it was called so it's called New Trials game that has to do with music. So most awkward thing that has happened to you while singing a song. And you wrote, I was the lead for a high school play and my ex was the lead male and we had to sing a love song to one another and kiss. Yeah.
100% true.
I'll send you the other answers later on.
Oh, I didn't
But
put the cherry on top of that cake though. Of my current boyfriend I was dating was in the audience on top of everything.
uh oh,
Fun
do you
times.
remember who you wanted to sing what with? Do you remember?
Tameo, maybe?
Yes, Tomeo.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one with like who we want to marry, etc., etc. That was pretty funny. And a little bit of New Trials history for you. Ah, so this chapter ends with the dream. What are your thoughts?
I think, it's her kind of knowing that next chapter is going to happen. But, I don't, but, no. What do you think?
Well, I think it was interesting that they mentioned the golden-eyed girl because Sharon, if I remember correctly, doesn't he take Erica to the dance?
Yep. Indeed.
Boo.
Mm-mm-mm. Oh my God. Again, they're so gosh darn frustrating.
It's just the tip of the iceberg.
Unfortunately.
Mm. Do you have anything else to say about the chapter?
I do not.
Mhm. Okay, so let's move on to Dark Force's corner. So in this chapter, we get to see S fight the rope head on, and she captures it. And we also get an appearance of Windy, which she uses to subdue rope, finally capture it. And we also get a mention of Fiery. And the way that Fiery was helping Sakura underwater actually reminds me of that scene in Aladdin when he was drowning and then he accidentally rubbed the lamp and Genie came out and
Mm,
Genie saved him.
hmm I think it's the Woody and not Wendy. I think.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. I missed the typo in my notes. Woody, yes, because Woody and the Vines were able to to reel in the rope. So yes, it was Woody. So for fan art spotlight, there's two fan arts that I would like to highlight. First one is from a group member. Her name is Joyce, and she drew a gorgeous fan art of SNS facing the rope. And she used Wish-chan's descriptions to just really draw the pictures so accurately, and I just love it.
I want that coat so bad. It is such a pretty drawing. I really like Syaoran's eyes too, because like I think a lot of people draw him with like brown eyes, but she really kind of gave him that like golden amber color, and so pretty.
Yes, and the second fan art that I'm highlighting is from Wish-chan, and she doesn't always post work in progresses, but she shared a drawing of Syaoran carrying Sakura in his robes, and it's drawings like these that make me itch to get my hands on her sketchbook.
Oh my, I didn't realize this was a Wish-chan when you sent it to me.
Oh,
no,
yes.
I had no idea. I can see it now that you pointed out to me. I can see Wish-chan in it, but I did not know that.
Yeah. No, usually when she shares her fan arts with us, it's the polished final version. But Wish-chan, love those whips. Send them our way.
Man, even though it's a rough sketch, it's so good. I wish I could do that. Author's note?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so kind of short and sweet today, but it says, haha, don't kill me because of Syaoran. No comment. I'm so glad I possess half of the CCS manga now. What sucks is that all those little details bother me now. Poor Sakura. This is just the beginning of winter. ... That's all we get.
That's all we get. You know what this reminds me of? So there's this fanfic author, her name is Fernwithy, and she writes for the Harry Potter fandom, or she used to write for the Harry Potter fandom. And once the 7 books wrapped up, she had her own world written, but then J.K. Rowling would just tweet out that, and it just like totally contradicts with her canon. So it's like all of these details. I'm like, okay with like, book canon, but all of these like random information, it's messing up my thing. So Wish-chan finally getting into the nitty-gritty of CCS, it's like I can see why she's irritated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then her comment of "Don't kill me because of Syaoran." I'm like, oh, he's so frustrating though.
I love how like, and I don't know if it's the next author's note, but there's definitely one to come. She's like, guys, I'm an SNS fan. Just bear with me.
And I think we were all at this point like, is it ever gonna get better?
Well,
is it just doom and gloom forever?
Well, leave it to Wish-chan to hit us where it hurts and just makes us want to read more.
Oh.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I'm good.
You have been listening to New Trials, the podcast, where it must rain for there to be a rainbow.
You've been listening to New Trials, the podcast. Please be sure to check out our audiobook version anywhere you can find this podcast. Also, please be sure to check out the Facebook fan page for New Trials, where a big part of our discussion happens nowadays. We also have a Gmail account at ntthepod@gmail.com. Please feel free to send us any chapter discussion questions that you would like Preya and I to discuss. And please be sure to stick around next week, where Preya and I will be very sad as we discuss chapter 11. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.